happy holidays. I am so excited to be here. I'm not sure exactly when this video is going to be going up, but today I'm going to be announcing my eyeshadow project for 2022. I can't believe that 2022 is almost here, but we're going to skip the existential crisis today and jump straight into explaining what I'm going to be doing because I am so excited for this project. So I took a great amount of inspiration from Victoria Dixon. She did a Pan Those Eyeshadow Palettes video or series on her channel where she took palettes and then rolled a quintet from those palettes. So it was a pan that palette with a pan those eyeshadows inspiration, and she worked through a couple different palettes in her collection, and I really liked that idea because, as some of you may know, I'm in university, so my main palette collection is at home where I am right now, and so it's hard for me to do a project where I pull random items from any item in my collection because I don't bring my entire collection with me to school. That would just be so many boxes. I'd probably have to keep most of my makeup in the garage, because we do have a garage with our apartment complex. Anyways, not the point. Or like stuff it under the sink. Like it wouldn't fit very well on my desk that I have in my university apartment. It would be a whole thing. So I liked the way that she did it, where she picked palettes that she wanted to focus on, but still got that rolling element. She got to work on different shades, kind of diversify her collection. So I am going to be doing my own Pan Those Eyeshadow Palettes series for 2022. So the way that I'm going to be doing it is a little bit different. I'm going to link her videos down below, and the starters of Pan Those Eyeshadows, which is Alexi, and the founder of Pan That Palette. I'm not quite sure. Her name is slipping in my mind right now, but I will have them all linked down below so that you can go and check out the originators. But I'm going to really quickly explain what I'm going to be doing this year, and then jump straight into telling you what palettes I've picked. So I picked 4 palettes. I don't know if any of you know this, but my school is on the quarter system. So the school year is broken up into 4 quarters: winter, spring, summer, fall, that are about 3 months each. And that's how I do it. So I go home usually once every 3 months, so that's a good time for me to refresh my collection, try some new things. So I thought that I would do 4 palettes on a quarterly basis so that I could try some new things. Now I am actually going to not be going home very much in the next 9-ish months that I know of, so I'm going to be picking all of my palettes now and bringing them to my university apartment so I have them all handy. But I wanted to announce what those palettes were and roll my first couple of shades. So beginning of each quarter, I'll introduce a new palette. I'll set my goals for that palette because, as you can see, these palettes are in different stages of their life cycle in my collection. And then I will roll some shades, and then I'll come back every month with updates on whether I hit pan on the shades that I rolled, if there are any bonus pans, maybe share some looks. So that'll be how I do this project. So I'm really excited. I have picked my 4 palettes, and I think I did a good job picking them, and I put a lot of thought into when I would put in each palette, if that makes any sort of sense. So my first palette, and the one we're going to be rolling shades from today, is my Tartlet in Bloom. This is probably one of my second favorite palette in my collection. This was my favorite for the longest time. I had one that I had hit multiple pans on before I lost all of my makeup when I was in high school, and then I repurchased it and have since hit pans. I did a pan that palette type thing on it when I first went to university and hit 4 pans of in this palette. And then I was thinking about doing a dedicated pan that palette on this for 2022, but I wanted to mix things up a little bit. Working on my Tarte's Pro to Go for 2021 was really nice. It was really easy just to reach for the same stuff over and over again, and it was really well suited to my needs this year. But I did feel a little bit guilty reaching for the same 5 shadows over and over again when I do have a fairly sizable eyeshadow palette collection. So I wanted to spread things out a little bit, but I do still really love this palette, and I am so close to hitting pan in Rocker. I think I could definitely very easily hit pan in Charmer and in Sweetheart, regardless of whether or not I roll them in. And then hitting pan on some of these shades would also be good, just to, you know, diversify the palette a little bit. I have pans in like the 4 light, easy, everyday shades for me, so it'll be exciting. And also just to see what kind of progress I could get on the shades that I already have pan in, because to use this shade, I'll probably have to use some of these shades. So I'm really excited. This is the palette we're going to be rolling a couple of shades from today, so I will come back to this to set goals in a minute. Then for spring quarter, I wanted to do something a little bit more challenging, also fun, and a little bit seasonal, so I picked my Huda Beauty new Nude palette. I don't know if you know this, but I brought this with me to school. My freshman year, I brought 2 palettes every quarter. So the first quarter, I brought these 2, and the second quarter, I brought this and my MAC Amber x9 palette. So I played with this a ton the second quarter, and then when I came back from school to home, because everything shut down because of COVID, I played with this even more because I was just sitting up in my room, and I was like, yeah, I can do a purple smoky eye. My camera's not even going to be on for class, like no one's going to give a crap, so let's go. So I did a lot of really fun looks with it then. But this palette, despite how much I've loved playing with it, does not show a ton of use. There's like very small dips in a lot of the shades, but no like major dips, so I would really love to make this palette look loved. I do think before I start painting it, I'm going to dig out this concealed like primer shade. I don't like it. It's and when I was using it, I am wearing this on my eyes today, but when I was playing with it, I was dipping into Secret, and it was getting fluff all, like powder shatter all in this concealer shade. I don't like it. I'll probably dig it out, but that I'll touch on again when we roll that palette in end of March, early April. For the summer, since I already know what job I'm going to be working next summer, I wanted to pick something very neutral, easy, everyday that I can take with me to Minnesota, and so I picked my Lorac Pro to Go. This is also something that I did a little bit of panning on. For 2020, I picked palettes, and I had a goal to hit 1 or 2 shades depending on what the palette was, and I would work on that palette, and then once I hit my goal, then I would roll in a new palette. That was just how I did eyeshadow painting for 2020, and my goal was to hit 10 shades, and I did, which was really fun. But anyways, so I have pan in the shades Cream and Taupe. You can see just a little speck of pan there, but I do really love this palette. This is a palette that I used a lot for special occasions, especially in high school. This palette did me, Samara, and Karen's makeup for prom, me and Karen's makeup for graduation, me and Carmen's makeup for homecoming, a lot of cheer games because it had this beautiful gold in it. It was really good for cheer. My school colors were red and gold, so I did a lot of gold eyeshadow and red lipstick for cheer games. So anyways, I do have a lot of love on this palette. Even these darker shades are really fun and beautiful to use as liners, so I wouldn't even mind rolling one of these in. So I thought this would be a really good palette for the summer. It also has just some warm tones and some cooler tones, so it'll be good for kind of playing around, because I tend to play around more during the warmer months. And then my last palette I don't have here with me, but I decided to treat myself and do my Tati Textured Neutrals Volume 1 palette. The name escaped me there for a second. I really love that palette. It is my favorite palette in my collection, and I want to get some good use on it, but I've decided I don't think I ever want to pan it and like try to use it completely up, given that Tati Beauty is no longer a brand and you can no longer get that palette. The sentimental value of it for me is so strong that I don't want to like move it out of my collection, but I do want to really enjoy it, get some good use on it. I tend to reach for it a lot anyways, even when I'm panning other things for those glitters and those sequin shades, so it'll be fun to really take some time next fall, dig into it, enjoy it, love it, and I'm excited to do that. So that palette's already in slow because I try to move it as little as possible just because it's precious to me, guys. I don't want it to shatter. That would be heartbreaking. Though I'm dramatic, but I would be heartbroken. Anyways, so that is my plan, and so now that I've gone over my plan for the year, I'm going to pull out my Tartelette and Bloom and talk about my goals for the next 3 months. So I am filming this a little bit early, but I'm still working on my Tarte Tarteist Pro to Go, so this isn't going to see any progress between now and the start of 2021, or until at least I wrap up my 2021 Pan That palette. As we can see, I do have a lot of pan in this palette already, and the majority, or a good chunk of what I have left, are these darker shades that are going to be harder for me to work through. I would like to pick 3 shades from this palette, and my goal for this palette is to hit 3 pans. So that's what I'm excited for, or that's what I'm going for, my goal, and then I'm numbering them 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 shades that I'm going to be rolling from. I'm going to pick 3, and my goal is to hit at least 3 pans in the next 3 months. So that might be challenging, but I'm hoping that the work I've done on this palette so far will help me. So I have my trusty random number generator, as in my graphing calculator. How do I do this again? Probability, random integer, 1, 8, and I want 3 shades. I was practicing earlier, just like making sure I knew how to do it, because I always want to put the numbers in the wrong order, and then I pull like 17 numbers between 1 and 3, and it's like a whole thing. Okay, so my numbers that I rolled are 7, 5, and 2. You can see them down there. So that's 1, 2 is the shade Smoke Show. 1, 2. Oh, F, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. 1 second. I can count, guys. I'm very smart. Okay, number 2 is Rocker. So we have 1, 2. 5 is Activist, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 7 is Rebel. So I'm gonna swatch those out. So this is the trio that I'm going to be working off of for the next couple of months. So we have Activist, Rocker, and Rebel. I do think that this gives me a good starting point. Rebel and Rocker and Activist work really well together, and then Rebel works really well with these other warm tones of the palette, so I think I will have a really good starting off point. I am really excited to get started with this project this year. I think I can make some good progress in these palettes and see some really good use on the favorite palettes in my collection. So if you're excited to see my update, please check back here in a month and stick around on my channel. There's going to be a lot of project painting this year. 2021 was not my best project painting year, so I am ready to come in guns blazing, gonna knock some goals out, and I will see you all in my next video. Thanks, guys!